All right, looks good, looks good. Let's see if the stream is working. Am I live? I am. I'm not. I'm not Kitty currently. All right, let me get this, update this a little bit so I can update that, edit this. The weekly write-up is now going to be on Day Trading Coffee Co's website, so I just updated that on the bio here. Weekly write-up right there. Anybody in the Tradecaster lobby can see it. If you can't, let me know. I'll post it back in there again. Alrighty. Quick, very delayed for myself. Let's see. Okay, we got the market open now. Here we are. We are opening below that 19,000 number, which is very interesting. Sorry, I was in the process of brewing up some caffeine. Got a little late on it. I'm going to watch this overnight low here, see if we get that wick off on that bottom. It is kind of heavy for this open. We could expect a range-bound week, so this could be an interesting first shot pretty quick here. Let's see if we can get something going down here at 794. This is a nice little bid. Lower bottom, lower band of VWAP. What's up, Charlie? How we doing? See if we can wick off this low. Russell pushed down, wick the bottom. S&P's also is now pushing up a bit. I would like this, like I said, I want this to wick this low. If not, we'd have to watch what happens at 19,000. Going to continue to trade this combine. We're going to look to maximize our profits, our funding this month. That's my goal, especially before the FOMC meeting. I'm not looking to really hammer in onto my funded account currently. I am watching this. This is going to be an interesting open right here. S&P's is pretty heavy. Maybe what we're going to do is we're going to see this level go. Watch for the S&Ps to come down to that 53.38 quarters. And then see if it'll bounce from there. Then that's when we can time this a little bit better. What's NVIDIA doing after it's split? It is opening at 119, 120. Could, like I said, could push down into the lower levels of, I'll call it 115. Nice healthy pullback into 112. And then look to rally from there. Give me 1 second. I just want to kind of pour myself a little bit of coffee here. We got the pour over going. Quite an interesting little bounce there. Didn't quite get to the overnight low. NVIDIA did catch a little bit of a bounce as well. I switched to the 5 on the, I'll switch to the 5-minute on the NVIDIA chart. NQ could have even gotten down to 970, which would have been nice, which is just below here. I think it's still possible, obviously. 18,940 is the low from right here. From Friday, I guess you'd call it Friday. Microsoft bouncing a bit. Apple is still in the liquidity zone. Pushed up into 197. Pre-market, almost 198. And now it's pulling back to 196. So GameStop open with the gap. But don't be surprised if this thing does more of the same of what happened on Friday. Some dancing around. I think there's a lot of manipulation in that. We'll see what goes on with GameStop. Never quite made it to my overnight low here to get in on an entry so early in the week. Not looking to rush that kind of price action. So we are going to wait, see if it'll probably pop the VWAP now. Sorry. That opening range trade right there. Left the opening range at the low. Let me see what my wife's calling me. Give me 1 minute. Oh. Throwing my phone around. 1 minute. Hello. What's up? Yeah. I thought it was by the main road. All right. I'm gonna take a picture. I'll send you a snap of it. You're still on time. You're fine. Alrighty. Let me text it to you. Yeah, by the car wash. Which car wash though? Do you know where the football field is? So park there and then walk to the baseball field. Bye. All right, that opening range break, very nice. The low bounce off of that lower band of VWAP has pushed us up into VWAP, so that's that rotation there. Really never took any risk on it if you were risking to the low, but I didn't really get anything that was going to tell me to just hop into that trade, right? This whippy kind of action could have just been whatever, right? Yeah, it's fine. That bounce play right before the overnight low. Obviously, overnight low right there. You could see it wicked off. Bounce. Just slightly wicked that pre-market low here that just was created and then rallied. I mean, that's something that you can look into as well with the opening range. But everything else is kind of heavy, so not so convinced quite yet. That was a nice little bounce right to VWAP. I might not consider the bounce on the overnight low on this push down because that might indicate that some heaviness is coming in. NVIDIA is selling off from 121. It's right at 120 right now. It's kind of dancing around with that 120 level. NVIDIA just really dancing around with that 120 level. That works. I hope you took your profits. I think we're going to dance around a bit here. The opening range break to VWAP nets you 370 per contract. If you took it to the 1921 level, that's been kind of acting pretty interesting over the last week or so. Hey, that's a great first trade of the week there. Oh my gosh, I hate when that happens. There we go. Pull back here. So just kind of highlighting the stream for the week here, since there are some people here that are always here, and I just want to kind of keep everybody posted on my week. Tonight I'll be doing a double. I'll be getting off at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I'll probably take a quick little siesta when I get home. Get on for the stream, do the stream, trade a little bit. Might get off the stream a little early. And then Wednesday and Thursday I have training, so I won't be on at all. And then Friday I'll be back on full force, and we'll go at it. Hopefully we could have maybe 1 or 2 more funded accounts ready to go for possibly next week. We do have the FOMC rate decision this week, which I think will kind of have us a little bit muted this week as far as any sort of real directional move or any sort of breakout of a range. The range trade could be good, but we might have to be patient for it. If you caught this low, then I mean it's still okay, except for the fact that ES is trying to crack this low here. Nvidia is still pushing upside, so that does help. Microsoft wicking off highs, pushing straight through highs, which is nice. I think Nvidia does have time to breathe, although at that 120 price point, it gives a lot more people accessibility to the stock, and I think that's what they were trying to do anyway, is to try and get more money into the company by getting more people involved. And the price being at $1,200 kind of limited the trading on it. So I think at $120, you're going to start to see people start to buy back in, and we're going to start to rally once again. How long will that take to start to initiate? Maybe today, maybe later on in the week. But I do anticipate slight pullback prior. If you do, can you guys see the write-up? All right, there you go. SPY Delta. I don't have Delta on TradingView, but SPY is rolling to support levels here, so it could bounce. S&Ps I think come into 53.38.25 here. I think when it does come into there, let's see if I can get the cumulative delta on this chart here. NQ trying to make new highs here through this 21, but you can see the delta remaining flat. So that is good. I'm trying to get the delta to populate on my S&P chart. I think S&Ps can get down into this 53.38 quarters before we make any sort of decision on it. SPY, like it's at pre-market support, could bounce. Which I don't know how correlated SPY and the ES are as far as like, I mean they are pretty much the same instrument, but one bounces earlier. Let's see if we can find the delta on this. It's still taking its time to load. Trying to break this high, still trying to break this high here. Working on it, building into it. Let's see if this delta pops when it breaks. If it doesn't pop when it breaks, then potentially look for it to rotate down. That VWAP there is going to act as some support here, but I don't know if it's going to stay long or if it's going to start to roll over like the other names. I mean, Russell's trying to creep up over the opening range as well. S&Ps is still through the low. I'm trying to get the delta to populate. It's just taking its sweet time right now for the S&Ps. So give me a minute. This white line here is that previous all-time high level. Trying to make sure that the Yeah, so our NVIDIA here is starting to kind of creep down. I think that does indicate a little bit of heaviness coming into the NQ when it does come. If NVIDIA can break down through 119.38 and hold, then it should potentially go down to 117. I don't know how much the, let's see. Okay. Good morning, Jofi. How we doing? I'm still flat on the day. I haven't done anything. Open has been kind of lackluster as I expected it to be. Kind of do think that we will have some quiet days ahead until the FOMC on Wednesday. If that happens, when that happens, then we'll start to get breaking out of ranges. But right now we are starting to get a little bit of a heaviness. As I mentioned, because of the delta, right, we were pushing up into this level. Delta was not following through. You were seeing that bit of a divergence. Now you're starting to get heavier sellers pushing in right into that opening range high. So that's what we're looking at here. I want that overnight low to get wicked and then see what happens. Russell is cranking. It's pushing high side right now, but it's still in that downtrend. So I'll see if it cracks and continues to push up or not. My S&P cumulative delta doesn't want to load, so it's just sitting there. I want the S&Ps. So the help that I'll need is S&Ps gets to this yellow line here, which is the overnight range low. I want it to get here, give me like an initial, pretty much an immediate bounce. This is what S&Ps does on levels. So could wick it and bounce. Once you get that bounce, the NQ hopefully will be down below the overnight low, and then we'll start to creep back above it. That's when I'll be able to indicate a nice little turn to come in and be able to time it a bit better. If the NQ stays relatively strong like it seems to be, then any of these names lead us back up, then the NQ is just going to start pumping. So that's kind of how it's been playing the last week or so. So I'm kind of just watching those actions as I go. If you want, read the write-up. I posted it in the chat. If you can't see it in the chat, let me know. I'll pop it back in there. I'm not sure how that works as far as the chat remaining. I see when we come in and out. This is that. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's the Tradecaster lobby. My apologies. Yeah, I don't like the cumulative delta in TradingView. I haven't found one that I actually like currently. I haven't searched around enough because I don't really do a ton of analysis other than my charting on the. Let's see, I'll do it for you since it's. SPY. So I don't do the ETFs. I don't have the delta. I don't know how the delta reacts on the ETFs as it does, as good as it does on the. I see the CVD one now that's on there. So I like I said, I don't know how the ETFs react to the delta as much as the futures do. So SPY is definitely something that I'm not certain how the delta will react to. I know the order flow within the futures market is pretty spot on as far as the delta is concerned. The ETFs could come through a bunch of different exchanges, and it kind of may mess with the delta and the indicator volume stuff, right? So that's just why I'm not really certain on the indicator with the indexes or on even on not indexes on the ETFs or the equities, right? So my equities and ETF strategies are slightly different than what would be done on the futures market. Price action is the same, a lot of that stuff's the same, but the strategy is definitely not exact. So if you are trading spies and Qs, use the futures as the indicator, and then watch those. If you're going to execute on the spies and Qs, just use that. Take it with a grain of salt. So I'm not certain on that as far as it's going to be the correct information. Okay. Let's see what it looks like here. Delta. Delta still creeping down. Price trying to creep back up. Not a lot of okay, there we go. Not a ton of confidence in that as far as the long is concerned right now. Like I mentioned, I do want to wait timing wise until the S&Ps can get down into here. So I do have a CVD on here now, Charlie. I'm trying to look at it, trying to see if it's going to be accurate compared to the Quant Tower one that I have. It's similar, but it's not exact. 93, 940, 940, 944, 81. So slightly different as far as value is concerned. It looks similar. There's a pop in delta. There's a pop in delta. So it looks similar, very similar. I'm just going to have to watch it as the day progresses. Still want this to be lower. Still want this to clean up this overnight low. NVIDIA is still selling off pretty heavy down into 117. I mentioned if 119 goes, then 118 comes in quick, and then probably down into 117, which is where we're at right now. I think that's good support for now. Let's see where we're going to bounce to. If NVIDIA doesn't bounce from here, then down to 115 and 114, relatively speaking. So watch those numbers. I do think that it's probably going to find a little bit of support here, which may help the NQ find some support. If not, then we continue to flush through this low. I want to see this overnight low get flushed before the NVIDIA bounce happens. So maybe NVIDIA can give us some help flush all the way down to 117, which it looks like it's trying to do. So I'm going to get rid of that delta for now. I'm going to shrink this volume down. There we go. So NVIDIA did crack through that low. You can see it here, NVIDIA right there. Cracking through that low. Make sure I'm on the right screen. This is where I was talking about if NVIDIA breaks that 118, 117 level, 119, 118, and then 117 comes into play. So that's right, kind of where we're at right here. You can see that's a pretty strong area of support. Probably has the wick down to where we're at right now. Maybe even down to 117 flat. Then 116 and 114 is the low here. I don't think we get deeper than that right now. That's a big percentage change. So watching that for, come on, this volume is kind of annoying. If it comes back up and gives us a bounce, then hopefully we can get our NQ to do the same through the overnight low, wick the low, come back up. I want the S&Ps to also play along with us to give us that bounce off of that overnight low, give us a little bit of liquidity there, give us a lead. If it kind of cracks and holds below that 53.38, then the sellers kind of probably pour in a bit down into that previous day low and into 18,930s. So I want to be cautious on the breakdown, wait for my confirmation to turn and come back the other direction. This also made sense here. this level that it broke, this one that kind of cracked out here. That bounce play did make sense because the wick here, so the zone for the overnight area, that's something I need to adjust possibly for what we got going on for the summer months. The lack of coming into, so the zone would be 80 down to 75. That would be something better to be watching. Opening range low. So I'm going to maintain that opening range low as the zone. So if we wick this down, maybe just tick this bottom here and then rotate back up over that, then that's a nice little entry as well. Because you limit your risk here, still well below here, even if you are entering in that opening range. So yes, you're costing yourself a little bit, but that's the confirmation to rotate back. Still delta pushing. S&P still doesn't want to get to that level. Where's that? So that's a strong spot too in the S&P. Is looking to the left. The bidders came in here at 53.42. If you're over on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe, head over to Tradecaster, join us over there as well. Put the link in the chat. Just helps you be able to stay involved in the community, get your conversation going with everybody that's over here. Then you have all the access, 7-day free trial. You have full access to everything paid on Tradecaster. Then afterwards, you still have access to my room and all the free rooms and all that. So it's still worth the jump over to Tradecaster.com. Kind of keeps everything organized. The chat stays around. And the alerts go into there, everything like that. So if you want, head over there, free, nothing, no skin off your back. If not, drop a like, let me know what you think. Say what's up in the chat over there. Still just kind of being very patient. Not a lot for me to act on right now. Currently, the previous all-time high acting as overhead resistance, and then the overnight range, this opening range low here, is acting as support. So let's be patient. Let's wait for something to tell us what to do. I need the market to force my hand early this week, especially with my streaming schedule, with everything like that. It's just not quite perfect as far as what we need to see. My streaming schedule is going to be a little erratic, and then as far as the the FOMC meeting on Wednesday, all that stuff, I don't think we're going to get a ton of stuff. So I'm not going to be streaming Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday and Thursday this week I will not be on. Tomorrow I'm doing a double today. I'll be off work tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. ish. So I'm gonna come in and take a quick nap. Get on the stream at 8:30 normal time. Stream a little bit, see if I can catch any trades or any opportunities early. If I start to get a little behind the eight ball, I might pop off and cut early. But that's just tomorrow, playing it by ear. Wednesday and Thursday I have training. So I just can't get on the stream. It's not possible. I won't be near the computer. And then back Friday, I'll be back on normal time. Same place, same time, every day, except for those 2 days. So today, tomorrow, I'll be on. Tuesday, I may cut out early, but I'll let you know. Should be fine. And then Wednesday and Thursday off. Friday, I'll be on. If I get off of training early and I'm back on the computer for Power Hour, on either Wednesday or Thursday, I'll alert it. I'll let you know. You'll see my stream pop up in Tradecaster and on YouTube, so it'll appear. You'll see it. The only thing I'm thinking right now is Nvidia just ran back up to 118.69. If it could come back down, try and test 117 again, maybe get our S&P down into that 53.38, then we can get this overnight low to finally get flushed, and then the rotation back to the other side. I think that could be what happens here. However, I don't know for certain. Nobody does. We could possibly just stay right here in this range for a while. FOMC meeting. If you read that write-up, you got the FOMC on Wednesday, as well as the CPI number, all that fun stuff. So with that being said, you're going to this range currently. I'm just read it. That's why I came over here. 188 ticks so far range on the day. It's kind of winding up. So let's watch which way this wedge breaks out. Hopefully it breaks to the downside, failed breakout, liquidity sweep of the overnight low, and then a rotation higher. That would be nice. FOMC Wednesday, I do think that we're going to get a lot of kind of muted price action. Not a ton of opportunities for the early part of the week. There may be one or two good trades a day, but you got to really be scoping it, sniping it, figuring out your setup. Don't hammer in and hammer in and hammer in. If the setup doesn't work the first time, take a walk, do something, because like I said, realistically, some of this price action is going to be a little weird and a little bit slow and a little bit low volume. The volatility is not going to be huge this week until the FOMC rate decision, right? So that's going to keep us probably, aside from any sort of wild news event, random release of something, some war news or whatever, something that comes out and shakes out the market a little bit, that can get you some movement. So you always got to be aware of that. That's always an outside risk. Other than that, just understand what kind of market condition you're in. You're in that summer months, June, already a little bit slower in the volatility. So your opportunities are going to be few and far between. As far as your A+ setups, you may have to adjust your setups. I was talking about that this potentially needed to be adjusted for the summer month type volatility and the lack of movement, but we're watching it. We're going to be patient, see how many times that comes up. So I'm going to type it into the chat. So if anybody's not listening, stream this week. Just so everybody has it. Cool. Just checking on this. My son getting to baseball camp. Max isn't going to baseball camp. The older son is. But Big Max is with the wife going to baseball. So, Daddy's free to trade. Daddy's free to make sure I provide good value to everybody here in the stream. Good morning, good Evan. Hopefully you have a safe shift over there. Max is the youngest, yes. Lorenzo's the oldest. S&P is creeping back up over the VWAP. Never made it to the 53.38 level. Staying in the range. Like I said, patience is going to pay you this week until the FOMC and beyond. With that being said, we're going to just kind of look to sit on our hands until you get some better price action. This is not something that, is providing you that. For me, for my strategy, for what I look for, I want to see a big move starting to step up and step into play, right? And if I am not going to catch the whole move, right? I'm a day trader. I'm a little scalpy. I'm looking to cut my loss quick and try and trail that winner as far as I can, but within reason. I have my targets, as you know, if you've been here at all, right? But I'm looking for that reason for price to want to go a lot further so I can catch a piece of that move and have a lot of moves happen that quick. I'm not looking to grind out a trade. Like right now, I'm not looking to kind of just hammer in a short, hammer in a long, hammer in a short. This is not the price action where I'm looking to get scalpy, right? My scalp nature or my short-term bias and all that stuff, it plays well into my hands because I'm really looking for something bigger, and then I'm just trying to catch a small piece of it, right? So that's how I'm able to time it a little bit better, be right more often, and limit my risk that way. I know people play strategies where they're scalpy and they're literally looking for a couple ticks, maybe a point or two in each direction, or even just trying to catch 10 points, right? You're looking for a 10-point range. You'd start buying and shorting, people do that. And I whatever works for you, works for you. For me, I'm looking to just find that one or two really good moves in a day and just take little pieces of them. I think we do a good job here of recognizing good levels, staying away from the middle of the chop. And then obviously when we get chopped up, it's because we are dancing around in the middle. The VWAP is an interesting level. I know a lot of people like to take trades off it. I know Ray's trying to develop a strategy that works entries around the VWAP. I don't know if it's worth trying right now, right? Like with the VWAP being flat, right? That's, if you're going to be a VWAP entry type person, when the VWAP is flat, it's a little harder, right? To say, okay, as it enters into VWAP, I can take a rejection or I could take a break and use the VWAP as the low, right? Because when it's flat like this, it's just telling you that there's indecision. It's telling you that the price is sideways. It doesn't have a trend in it, right? Like if you want to use VWAP as a entry, let's find a spot where it's trending, right? All right, let's say VWAP is now a bit trendy to the downside. We'll use Friday. Even though it's still pretty flat on Friday here, it's not the best example of a trending VWAP. This would be good, except that's a really, really exaggerated move. That's a little bit better, I guess. So you start to see VWAP, you break through it. You're trying to use it as support here, right? We're coming back to it, back to it, back to it. The time you actually touch off on VWAP just happens to be a nice little bounce play there for the rally, right? So in a trend, maybe a pullback into VWAP can get you an entry. Today, a day like today, where you're just chopping in and around VWAP. I'm trying to get this thing to be correct. You're chopping in and around VWAP. Yes, it's slightly downtrending. Yes, it's a low. You could see that this is a wick of VWAP and a rotation down. But right now, all it's telling you is that price just wants to be in this range, right? 19,000, big round number. That's a good area for people to be wanting to buy and sell and buy and sell and buy and sell. There's going to be a lot of manipulation around this area. There's going to be a lot of thickness. You don't want to really be involved too much within the thickness if you don't have a real idea of the direction you want to go. Let's say you're short, longer term bias, and you're trying to enter and you want to get in that thickness because you can execute a bunch of orders. This is where like the big players are executing and trying to just unload shares, unload contracts, right? They're just going to continue to just unload within these ranges because it's not obvious that there's a bigger player playing around, right? That's what these liquidity zones are, right? It's places where they can unload big amounts of contracts without getting noticed what their hand is, right? They're trying to hide their hand because they don't want you to run away from them. They don't want you to not play with their orders. So when it stays like this, it's just executing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, or there's just lack of liquidity, right? There's two different reasons why it would do something like this. And currently, I think it's more lack of direction because the S&P is just cracking, pushing through that all-time high. Now NQ is being the relatively weak name compared to the two. NVIDIA popping above 118, looking to crack 119 right now. So could rotate right back into that 119.40. And that could act as the overhead resistance there. All right. I'm rocking my Futures of Coffee shirt here. You can always find that on daytradingcoffeeco.com. Our swag is all trading related. Fun little shirts. I'm going to have to develop another one here soon. I'm going to do some design work this week, maybe. But right now we have a pretty large selection on it. We just developed a new glass cup for your iced coffee needs for the summer months, so that's pretty cool. You can put whatever you want in it. That S&P just wicked that 53.49 pretty hard. So let's watch what happens with this wick. If that previous all-time high holds. Every time. Let's see. What does AMC look like since I'm a big-time shareholder in AMC? I have 2 whole shares of AMC. That's right. And it is at $4.80. So holding below Friday's lows. GameStop also just kind of dancing around Friday's lows, which is also interesting because it didn't really fall hard. So I'm going to just watch it for fun because I think he's tricking people. I think that stream was exactly what he wanted it to be. I think a lot of people that think just purely logically are tricked and duped into thinking that he has no idea what he's talking about. But every single word that he said in that stream is calculated 100%. He talks in cryptic codes. Apparently that's how he's always done it. So You don't hold a $500 million position and just chill if you're not just ready to make a big ton of money on top of that. And if not, he's really just trying to break the system. So that's another reason to be kind of cautious on trading this week early and whatnot, because with the GameStop thing, so the first time he tweeted, right, they broke Berkshire Hathaway. If you think that that's a coincidence, I think that that's kind of silly of you to think that the timing of the circuit breaker problems and the complete dump off, that fat finger dump off of Berkshire Hathaway and a couple of their super large cap companies. Maybe they dumped it down to see how well they can do it, manipulation behind the scenes. They tested it with a huge company with all that price point, right? I don't know. They're trying to see what they could do to defend the system, because the system doesn't want the little guy to win. Clearly, obviously. I mean, that's just how this economy works in general. But, aside from all of that, they're all fighting behind the scenes to figure out what to do with what's going on over there. And that may affect some of what we're doing here and what we're trading. So as much as I want to say, like, hey, outside risk, outside news, something could happen that could create something within our markets, that could be one of the things. So you have to be aware of kind of that broad market dynamics of what's happening in GameStop, even if you're not trading it, even if you're not interested in it, you're not trading in it, whatever, all that fun stuff. You think he's crazy and he's just going to, GameStop's going to go to zero. I think you still need to be really aware of what's going on there because of the manipulation. Obviously, the futures is traded on the CME, and, it's a different world, but it's part of the same world. So, if you start to see shit happen in GameStop and then all of a sudden NVIDIA follows for some odd reason because they're messing with circuit breakers in the background or whatever, it's going to affect the NASDAQ trades. It's going to affect the S&P trades. Some of those things are going to be really interesting to watch. If you're going to start getting broad market halts, things of that nature because of what happened, right, in 2020, 21, whatever year that was that they did the first GameStop squeeze, you were getting volatility halts and all that stuff in indexes as well. So just be mindful of that. That's why I bring it up. It's also fun. It's just something that I'm interested in the social experiment. It's really a social experiment. It's a, not just a David Goliath type action. It's really institutions versus the people and, how the game is actually played, right? So I would not be surprised if it does exactly what he wants it to do, because theoretically, if it was just a regular market conditions, he should be winning. It should not be consistently shorted the way it is. So that's my GameStop rant, but I'm going to keep it. Yeah, this is one of my other evals. Like I said, I'm just trying to max with my weird schedule this month, with my streaming, with trainings, with my overnights and stuff like that, and with the shitty price action. To be honest with you, I am going to just work on maximizing however many funded accounts I can get over the course of the next few weeks or whatever, and then just start to really leverage all the accounts. Right, with Top Step, you could have 5. I'm sitting on 1 right now. This one's up. I'll look to try and, like I said, I have it here. If you want to see it, I do have it. I am a funded trader. I'm not lying to you. I do it every day live on stream so you can see it. This one's up a little bit. The other ones are evals that are kind of just sitting there. A couple days last week, played in the chop. Currently, I got 1 right now sitting there, and I'm working on these other ones right now. Taking my time with this one. You run into so when with the combines, I get a little bit quick with them. I try to avoid my normal strategy, and that kind of burns some of them. Like last week, I shouldn't have traded probably Thursday at all, but I did, and so I had to start at the drawing board on a couple of these evals, but I'm not too worried about it, right? Like I said, I'm just using this month as a leveraging month for my stuff, just because of my schedule. I'm not really going to be able to hit off on profit targets that I want to hit off on. I'm not going to get the price action that I want to get. And also just with the erratic schedule, I want to be able to be here consistently, sitting in front of the computer, understanding the dynamics of each day, and being able to provide value to you guys, but also I understand where my account is in a position where it's going to be a little bit vulnerable to. So right now, like I said, I'm in stack mode, ready to get as many as I can. I was able to work one account just fine over the course of April. Then May came along and slapped me in the face and said, "Yeah, not too soon, not too soon." So I want to make sure I have that safety net. In the past, I've had multiple funded accounts, and I didn't use the copier, and I used one as like a YOLO type account, and that never works. So I'm going to use it as this time. I'm going to try and leverage out 5 with Top Step. If I get all 5 set up, I'll probably run 3 on the copier, or maybe 4 on the copier, and leave 1 as the emergency circuit breaker for myself. Or just I'll have to set them up in a way that I like to kind of protect the capital across the accounts, right? So that's what my goal is when I have all 5 set and ready to go. Not really a rush, like I said, because this week I have today and tomorrow and Friday, and then next week is only going to be one or 2 days that I'll be able to hop on. And then back towards the end of the month, we'll start to really hit it hard and start to trade the funded accounts. If you're interested in getting funded accounts, I don't really get much skin in the game from Top Step or anything like that, but I'm trying to show that I can push people to them so I can partner with them with the coffee company. I am already partnered with Lightspeed, so we do provide a good offer for people who want to get on the Lightspeed brokerage. You can pop that link in here if you want it. If not, go over to Day Trading Coffee Co. and head to the partnerships page, and all of the links are there. I just want to provide a good value for you guys. Like I said, the best things that I can find, I want you guys to be able to leverage and use. I know people in here, Jofi likes Apex. I know I'm not a big Apex guy. It just forces me into bad habits, and I just got to stop doing it. Every time I go over to Apex, it just gets me into some sort of crazy, turns me into a completely different trader, to be honest. So it's not anything to do with that. I could be the same trader. Something about it turns me into a gambler. I think it's the cheap evals and stuff like that. And I think that they are a bit. If there's going to be a funding company to go down first, it's probably going to be them over Top Step. So that's why I run with Top Step. I also like the payout policy in Top Step. I like their funding policy. I like that they do A-book people. It's consistently a thing that they do. They'll put you on an actual live funded good, cash account, and then you can work your leverages and stuff with them that way. And it just kind of proves that you can make it to the top of that game, right? So I do like that about. And then they're just constantly developing new things for their traders, platforms, a YouTube channel where they provide a lot of good value. And as I mentioned, I don't really make anything from them. So I heard that they might be getting rid of their affiliate program. I don't really know or care to know what that is doing in the background. But if you do want to use it, I do have the links. So like I said, go into that partnership page and you'll find it there. I do the 50K accounts. They're the quickest to pass. They're the cheapest, as relatively speaking, compared to the 150. I've been funded at pretty much every eval level that they have, so that you can blow all of them easily. So just be aware of that. Just because you pass a 150 doesn't mean that's not going to go away, because it's really all about the drawdown. The 150's drawdown is not that much more, and as soon as you build up a buffer in the 50K, it's basically the same account, because you're starting your balance at 0. So just let that thing do its thing. So right now I'm just not trading this chop. You could see this is pretty much exactly what I expected out of a Monday leading into the FOMC. The only trade that was there realistically in my eyes was this first one right here at basically 830. The wick of the opening range low, it'll be 831, right? Wick of the opening range low. This zone I mentioned, that 80 down to 74, is technically that pre-market low. Could have rotated up to VWAP, kind of how Ray took it. And then that's really all I see at the moment. It's interesting to see that the S&Ps is a bit more tradable today than the NQ. S&Ps is trying to push up higher as the NQ is holding below VWAP and trying to rotate seemingly to the lows. Russell is screaming higher, 2023, but running into the resistance level from the 7th at, I'll call it, this is the support level there. Why is that not working? Yeah, the 2023 level is probably going to act as either some resistance here, or if it doesn't, for the Russell, it could rotate through there. But I think that's the high end for it. You could see price just going chop, chop, chop. Delta also sideways. Tried to grind up here, didn't make it. Really just have nothing here for myself. Just trying to keep you from chopping yourself up. Avoid the chop. Avoid the trades that are in this. I mean, if you have a strategy, then go for it. But realistically, like I said, my thought process on it is lower volume, lower volatility until Wednesday. The S&P is showing a lower high here, sitting on top of VWAP at the previous all-time high. NVIDIA creeping back up over 119. Microsoft has been selling off from 427 after that push rally up to the high side. Yeah, Russell is leading us to the high side. That's the biggest thing. I usually use Russell as an index leader, especially lately. It seems like it wants to be the one that's bringing us higher. NVIDIA is making this sort of higher low chart pattern here on the 1 minute, right? We flushed that low. I mentioned that 117 is probably the low. It's probably going to run into support right around there at 117 due to this spot right here. Where are we at? This little pre-market low there at 117 down into there. So I anticipated that 117 probably is the low for the time being for NVIDIA. I wanted this to get below the overnight low as we were approaching there, but we never crept down in there. So we never took the S&Ps or the NQs to the lows as NVIDIA was making this low here, trying to catch up liquidity and bounce. And then Microsoft also was bid up at around that time, 8:30, and then started to sell off. So the divergence between the two kind of showing. Apple, I'm not really considering as a help, right? It's been selling off. I did say that the liquidity zone here in the write-up probably could lead to some selling, but also there's some strength still in Apple. Longer term could push us up higher into that 200 zone. But right now, Apple looking a little heavier than it was before. NVIDIA is the leader. So this higher low here, higher high, looking to be on the other end of it. Possibly look to watch it break 120, 90, 121. If it breaks that, then you do have overhead, call it 122 as that first area that may run into some resistance. So 121, 122 is where NVIDIA may go if it does crack that high. If it's going to stay rangy, then who knows. I love that you're up okay on that. Love it. And then the Russell absolutely leading higher. I do think the Russell, though, here at 23.20 is a interesting level for a turnaround, right? I just drew up that resistance level, and it's rejecting there pretty good. So anticipate maybe these to follow it to the downside, but I'm not certain about that. We got that upper band of VWAP coming in. Maybe the overnight high can fail for us. That'll be nice. I am not keeping it a secret or anything like that. I am starting to develop a trading view indicator for my strategy based on the way I'm able to simply define what I want to do. I've been coding it out, and I've had a couple issues here and there with some of the charted levels, but I'm trying to get everything all together. And then once I get it all together, I'll share it with you guys if you want it. It's not a big deal. I'm not looking to make money off of it, but I think it's a really helpful thing to kind of just be able to visualize. All right, overnight highs, lows, and then I'll show it to you on here. Give you a little sneak peek here. Here's the NQ. Let's see where we're at. This is the NQ. Here's what my indicator looks like at the moment. Pine editor. Let's minimize this for a second. So this is what it looks like currently. It's kind of a little bit funky. It's plotting overnight high, previous day high, previous day low is this orange. So we were at this orange. It was telling me to load up on longs at this orange level, which is the previous day. According to it, this is the overnight low. Previous day low is all the way down here somewhere. So, yeah, we're working on it, working on getting the levels to be plotted. This is the overnight high up here. This is technically the pre-market level here, right? You can see just working this zone. Orange is previous day low. For some reason, this was the pre-market levels, and then I don't know how that ended up being there, but it is. Gonna pay attention to that. I think I have it a little bit lower than I want it to be. Pretty neat. Yeah, that's what these are. So the overnight highs and lows, you can see it's actively plotting it, and then it will start to populate, and then it stops populating. It's supposed to be at 829. That's sort of the bug that I'm working on, is trying to get this after midnight to rotate down. Some reason the timing's just stopping at midnight for the overnight lows, so I need to maybe write another script that will push it down into the pre-market lows here. But we'll see what I can do with it. Until then, it's going to get hidden because it's distracting, and I'm going to keep working on it every night and try and refine it here and there as I go. But that's just a little sneak peek into what I'm trying to develop for everybody and myself. Just a little strategy refiner. Overhead 19,040.50 looking like a important level, right? I mentioned that in the write-up as well, so just watch that. Could be that overnight high. Also is something that I'll be interested in looking at here, right there, right? All right, let's get back to the charts. Get back to that charts. I think I messed this previous day level up. Yeah, that is not the previous day low. That is, see, look at that. The indicator saved me a bit. Technically, this is the pre-market low, previous day low, and that would have helped my trade there. I may have entered that if I knew that that was there, and I was. So the strategy is working, right? When traders touch on previous day value area high low, how are they identifying that? Do you know? Similar to your strategy. When traders touch on previous day value area high and low, how are they identifying it? Do you know? So the value areas, right? They could either populate it on their chart for previous sessions. This is the value area currently, right? It's a volume value area. Value area high is 19,021. The value area low currently is 18,988. You get that to populate every day. But if certain charts are able to populate each and every day and then leave them on the chart. So if you're on Tradeovate, yeah, it's a volume profile. If you're on Tradeovate, I think it'll populate and leave it on the chart. And then you can have each previous day value area high, value area low, or you can just do it on your own. As you see it plotting for the day or at the end of every day, close it. Yeah. So yeah, I'm fairly certain Tradeovate does it on every day. I don't know about other platforms. I'm not really concerned too much on the previous day values. I like previous day ranges, and then I can kind of figure out the values on my own. Not really, it's not a perfect science, but it is saying that that's where price has spent the most time. So if you look at Friday's price action, right? If this is all of Friday, you would assume that most of the value area is somewhere between this white line here, right? Because price has spent most time here, And then I would assume under this purple line, I mean, if there was a ton of volume executed here at 120, then the high end of the value area is like 136 down into 19,023, right? So all it's telling you, value area is 75% of the day's value is within that. And you can kind of use that within the upper band and lower band of VWAP as well with this system here, upper band, lower band, upper band, lower band. That's technically your value area, right? But you can tighten it a little bit where it ends. So, that's definitely not the full value area. Value area is probably more in this range right here, this bottom yellow line to that top red line. For me right now, you can see price has spent most of the time here within this zone. That's why the value area is only right here. So that's your value area high and value area low highlighted. We have just exited out of the current value area, and we are now seeking new value, which potentially is the high end of the overnight, and then also into Friday's range, right? Somewhere in this range, high end of that, in that value area, probably point of control somewhere in that range there. So 19,055, something like that. Let's watch these overnight levels, see if they give us any reaction. Yeah, absolutely, Lizzie, no problem. For me, my levels, like I said, it's overnight highs, overnight lows, previous day highs, previous day lows, and then I use longer term confluences. Like right now, we're running into, as much as we can with this all time high zone. The 19,040 50 level is, I find this to be right where we're at right now, kind of important. So let's see. I'm not going to trade around it, but I want to note it. I want to see what's going to happen here for my future ideas. My strategy needs us to get us over that overnight high. All right. I received a payment. Oh, somebody bought my. Cool. Get this thing to get up over there. All right. So like I said, this 40 level, very important. That's kind of why we've just stopped here. We're going to get, and by very important, I mean, it's literally just only the last 2 sessions. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It found some resistance here, support, resistance. I do think we can get up into the overnight highs. That seems likely. But then if we can get this range bound type day, once again, want that S&Ps to get up there. Like I said, this is a move. Doesn't mean it was a trade. I think I heard somebody on Instagram say that. And I really kind of took that, to help my psychology a little bit, everybody's psychology, right? Just because there's moves on the chart doesn't mean that you had a trade, right? Just because price goes up and it looks clean and after the fact everything kind of worked out, right? You didn't really have a trade. Then that's not, it's not worth taking something if you don't really have anything, right? I want to give you a little sneak peek of this. So the max drawdown on that's really bad, but net profit on the 30-minute over the last This is my strategy tester here. That's the strategy tester. Looks like it's up. Oh, strategy tester there. I don't know what it looks like on your screen. You can see this first number here, net profit 90,000, and then the percent profit earlier in the year. These trades, there is a big drawdown here, but since that point, it seems to be working out really nicely, just based on simple levels. And I think it's over leveraging some contracts. Let's see, 4 2s on the tester. I don't know why it's leveraging some of these, but I guess on higher probability ones, it's leveraging in. So I guess the strategy wants to do stuff on a larger scale, which is nice. I got to see if I can program in the testing to just show one contract per, but overall, not a terrible winning percentage of 69%. It's kind of holding certain things too long on these. So we're going to utilize this strategy appropriately, and hopefully this is on the 30-minute. It is giving good indications here. We never made it to this high, so it's not going to indicate, right? I have it coded so where it gets to previous day lows, previous day highs, overnight highs and lows on a negative delta correlation. So if we get up over this red line here and a negative delta correlation comes in, then I should populate a green arrow. It's currently long in a trade, apparently, from 2 a.m. It's just, like I said, it's just a test thing. So it just runs it as I'm scripting it. So we'll see if that does anything for us. Just a little sneak peek of something bigger to kind of help our trading out. One little thing at a time, right? It's no strategy is going to work forever. No strategy is going to work all the time. I can teach something about writing scripts. I'll give you a tip. You don't have to do everything on your own. If you have a basic knowledge of scripting, which is basically all I have, I have a very odd college degree. My college degree is U.S. history. I minored in computer science, and the way the U.S. history degree worked is you could really get more minor credits than your degree credits. So I really focused on my minor more than anything. I took some coding courses, video game design, stuff like that. And that just kind of gives me I went to school to play baseball. I'm not going to lie to you. Originally wanted to go to school for, I was obviously trying to play baseball, do everything that way. But I was originally working on the business programs and trying to do my MBA route. Didn't end up doing that because I transferred schools from a small school to a larger D1, or a small D2 to a bigger, lower mid-major D1. And the elective credit to stay eligible to play, you needed to declare a degree, and my biggest degree space was history. So that's where I ended up transferring a bunch of things in. Wanted to get into the business school, had to wait, and then I was like, I'm already working towards a degree. It doesn't matter. It's just a piece of paper. Let's focus on something else. So I focused on the computer science end of it a little bit. And then once I got out of school and I was chasing the dream and doing all that fun stuff, I was working in IT as support. So I have like a fair basic amount. This was, 2011. So no, 10. I graduated college in 11. 10 and 11. 13, 14 years ago. So my computer knowledge has stopped there. I didn't pursue anything further once I changed career paths, but my coding knowledge is still very raw and basic, and I understand like what the language needs, right? You kind of just understand that languages are just super simple, basic, if then statements and all that stuff. So if once you get a base code in and you can kind of just adjust it on your own terms, and then also leveraging AI is a huge help. You don't have to pay anybody to help you. You just go on to ChatGPT with your crude code and have it bug it out, and then have it bug it out again, and then you kind of just talk it out with the AI. And if you can explain your strategy to a 5-year-old or to a group of traders, then you can explain it to ChatGPT, and it knows every coding language. So TradingView uses Pine Editor. I was trained on like Blue Jay, so it's very similar in the facts of how to do it. So I kind of just run through the code visually, try to break down pieces that work, try to break down pieces that don't work, and I'm kind of just like building it in pieces. So right now it's kind of crude, and I'm having issues with Pine Editor or TradingView plotting these levels after midnight. So once I can get past that issue, then I can bug that out. Then I can start to really get the strategy to kind of work its way out of what it's going on right now. And I mean, it's profiting, so it's good. Yeah, that's all coding is trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. As with trading, it is really a trial and error thing. Just watching. The wife is sending me pictures of my son at baseball camp. I have no trades. You understand my strategy. You'll understand why I don't have any trades currently. And, possibly I misplaced my level. And for the previous day low into the overnight low, should have had this here. I had it lower. Technically, it was at the lows from the non-farm number dump. And I will call my mistakes as I see them. So I potentially could have had a long off of that. Also through from 80 to 70. Really, I want to see that overnight flush. So at the end of the day, if I'm holding below a previous day level and I'm getting closer to an overnight level, I really want that level to be touched before I start looking for entries. As we approach this overnight high, I will look for that short, but I need to see it get over that. I need to see that delta divergence, because realistically, we could still continue to just stair step up. NVIDIA pushing up into overhead resistance at 120.90. If it cracks 120.90, then 121.70 comes in. 121.80. And who knows if it starts to squeeze out and starts to run. I don't know what will happen with NVIDIA. Microsoft rejected 427, still pulling back down to 426, which is over the highs from Friday. I'm really just trying to find something to tell you about this. But like I said, just because it's moving doesn't mean you have a trade. This is not this. I mean, this is normal, slower summer market movement. However, with the FOMC on Wednesday, you have CPI in the morning, and then you have FOMC rate decision and the press conference after 1 o'clock. I would anticipate this to do a lot of what we have seen today the rest of the week until Wednesday, because I don't really have any sort of good, we don't have anything to display that there's going to be a difference in that. Let me hide my strategy because it's on NVIDIA now. Appreciate everybody stopping by. Like I said, I'm sorry that it's a little slower today. You have to just understand the dynamics of the market and the days that you're going to be trading. As I wrote up in my write-up, if you are so inclined to go visit that and take a read, now could be a good time. If you don't have something that you're really eyeballing and you're trying to avoid that just enter to enter, clicking buttons just to click buttons. If you're trying to avoid that, GameStop looking to creep up, curling up, running into that 28 overhead resistance for GameStop. Let's look at that. This is me trying to distract you from the non-trades on the NQ. Summer markets, slower markets for these equity indexes. Understand that that's going to happen. In the write-up, I mentioned that this is what's going to happen prior to FOMC. So I'm watching this GameStop, for fun. Like I said, I don't have any stake in the game. I think that everything that the kitty said was calculated. I think everything that he's doing is secretly in there for some interesting levels. I'm not going to say anything about it being perfect. I don't think what he did was something that was like super genius for the regular people, but whoever knows how he talks, there was definitely some interest there. Max. Max. Say hi to the people, dude. They always ask about you here. Everybody asks about the Max. Where's Jofi? Say hi, Jofi.
Jofi's not even here.
Jofi's not even here? I don't know. He was here. Enzo's at baseball?
Yeah.
Yeah?
You're coming with us.
I'm coming with you?
Yeah. Like my
Was he having fun?
Yeah.
Was he learning a lot
I'm
of
just
hitting?
getting
And
out.
Oh, you're just getting out. You didn't want to leave your brother? That's really nice of you. Say hi to the people, dude. They're watching you. They're watching you. They said, "Oh, you got your curls out."
Let's do a lot of work.
Do a lot of work?
That's good.
That works. Yeah.
I mean a lot of money.
A lot of money, a lot of good trades, right?
Say good trade.
Say, don't trade the chop.
Don't shade the tops.
Okay. See you later, Max. Have fun with mommy.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah. Can I get some water? This is that and water.
Let's put it in there so you can-
No, leave it there.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll remember it, maybe. Alrighty. I'm watching this GameStop because why not? Right? Because my NASDAQ is not showing me much. I want to kind of avoid it until what in the world? Oh. So we squeezed up over the 28 level. No, squeezed up. I'm not going to say that word yet. Not quite there on the squeeze. Let's technically analyze the GameStop since we're here. Here's a big support level. Oops. This is the major support right there. You gapped up to here, but when he was doing his little live stream, let's call it right at 11:30, they were halting price every single time they could, anywhere in that 20 to 30. It was right around here. I think he was on. I forget when he got off. It seemed like it was around here. They were like pinning price to that level. It was very weird because he wasn't doing anything. You could clearly see that they were trying to run up longs and shorting them. And then they were halting price. So that was interesting. That's a good level there. Obviously, the high of the day there was 48. And then you see what happened pre-market. Pre-market, it's a bit more difficult for them to do a ton of that pinning with the liquidity. So let's see what happens at these levels. That high of that last pump was 67.50. So this is the chart for GameStop. Here's your NQ. Like it hasn't done anything over the last 9:20 till now. 9:47.
right now because, as you recall, that first initial one spiked it to 80. The next one with the position spiked it to 60. And then there was a meme last night, and we have not really moved at all in GameStop today.
All right, let's see. This overnight high is looking like it wants to get touched. Let's see if we can get any sort of rejection from it. This zone here, this liquidity zone here from 19,080 up to 19,100 could be interesting for me if we do like surge past this overnight high. I don't know if we're going to get it. That was a nice little wicking tail there. It seemed a bit more of a manipulation like you see here. 19,050 was that high end of this rejection. So that's my idea on that right there. We are above that upper band VWAP. Russell's still creeping up a little bit, and the S&Ps is also a little bit creeping up some. I want to see Delta. What is going on with that? I don't need that level. It doesn't make any difference. I don't know why there's any levels on the Delta. They don't really matter. These were just some things that I draw up on here when the time comes, but they don't really hold weight long term, the deltas. I mean, maybe they do. Maybe that's something I could look into, but I don't think that's really necessary. Watching this level, we're getting there. We're getting there. All right, let's see. We're getting there. We're getting close. Overnight high is looking to get tagged. Let's see if we can get that up over that level. See a failure of that overnight high. Let's make sure that that is the overnight high for me. Let's see what my indicator that I've coded up plots. See if it plots any of that. You can come over here. Do you have any water, please? Thank you. I'll take that. All right, let's see if it plots it. $59.75. I have it at $59.50 here. Thank you for the feedback, Lizzie. I appreciate you going over there, reading it. At the end of the day, like I said, if you can, I'll write that up every week and I'll continue to send it out and provide it to everybody. If you can go through something like that on your own as well, kind of see what I'm writing, see if there's anything that differs from what you've seen. Maybe you do a little bit more research, like say, hey, I posted the Fear and Greed Index. That actually is linked. Can you leave that off? That is actually linked. So if you wanted to read more into the Fear and Greed Index, just click the picture and then you can see, all right, this is why Fear and Greed is, right now here, the sectors and stuff like that. So there's definitely an interesting dynamic to that. I'm going to try and expand it a little bit, but use that write-up as like a nice little guide for the week. Every single week that I do it, you can go back and look at some of the Google Docs that I've shared. I think now that it's on the website, it'll be easier to archive, easier for you to kind of go back and kind of review some of the other weeks. I don't have the old weeks on there, but starting this week now and then moving forward, we're going to do it on the website every week. You'll be able to look for it. You can search for other weeks and see what kind of stuff we got going on. Like I said, I think that that's a really helpful thing for everybody. If it helps you, then it's already helping more than just me. So that's good. I'll continue to post it. Just the broad market outlook that I try and keep is helpful for a weekly dynamic and bias, and it should help me long term. Yeah, that's it. So if you can just take a little piece from everybody, there's one thing I did when I was a cop, when I was really just starting out. You have, especially early on, I mean, we didn't have FTOs. They said that you were supposed to have field training officers and stuff like that. We didn't have that when I first started. They were supposed to be there, or they weren't, right? You ride with people. You learn from cops that have 20 years on. You learn from cops that have 2 years on. You learn from cops that have 6 more months than you. You see what they do that you like, and you see what they do that you don't like. Things that you know that don't work. Like, you could see certain cops do one thing and you're like, I don't really think that that's going to work for me. Note that it doesn't work for you, and then just avoid to do that thing. Even if you don't add something from what they did, always take something from somebody. Always take something from everybody that you work with, everybody that you watch, everybody that you do stuff from, right? You could hate, I don't know anything about ICT. I just hear his name all the time. ICT this, ICT that, ICT that, right? I hear that name all the time. I know nothing about his strategy. I'm sure that it's good. You could take something from that and just say, okay, I like the way he does this, or I don't like the way he does this. So if you don't like the way that works, then just notate that in your strategy. Say, I don't like when this happens. It doesn't seem to work. And now you can kind of adjust off of that. Maybe not do the opposite, but just avoid doing that one thing that already makes your mental capacity and your trading and your Rolodex a little bit bigger, right? So I'm a purveyor of information, right? All I do, I read books. Some of them I don't finish, some of them I do. I got books all sitting here. I got all these, right? Maybe one day I'll do you a nice little write-up on all the books that I just have sitting around next to me. I'll reference them. I'll just come out here. I'll kind of read through stuff. I'll find stuff that I like, find stuff that I don't like. Just continuously gather information, and then one day it's all going to click. And maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next year. I'm constantly growing as a trader, right? I'm doing my best to kind of show that on stream, show that on the YouTube channel, show that just every day this is a real life. I'm not going to give you fluff, but to be able to kind of just take all the little pieces and maybe stuff that now that I've learned and done over time, and see that's working currently. Hopefully it helps you a little bit. So that's my little rant. Take pieces from everybody. Just like I said before. Take little pieces, understand what you like, what you don't like, and move it on. I think that's the only way to go in life. That's with everything besides trading. It's everything, right? It's not just trading, it's life. If you don't constantly learn from other people doing things, then you're going to have to make that mistake yourself. And I'd rather not make the mistake. I'd rather let somebody else make the mistake and then just be like, oh, okay, that's good. I'm not going to do that now, right? I'm not going to be the one to touch the hot stove. You let your sibling touch the hot stove and they could get burnt, and then okay, I'm not going to do that, right? So it's kind of the same deal. So we are we're into our overnight highs. We have this beautiful rising wedge idea. So let's see if it'll kind of hold or if it'll. Here's the delta divergence, right? Price trying to make new highs, trying to make new highs, trying to make new highs. Delta flat, delta making new lows. Didn't get any trigger on that. I'm going to look to see. I'll take a quick. If I get a wick off high here, I'm going to set my stop order in for just below the overnight high here, and then I'm going to enter on that break back down. Look to rotate us back down. I think it's going to be a rotational type day. Although it could grind, right? Like I said, there's a chance that it just continues to go up and 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 up. Delta is diverging. We are at my level. I think we need one more wick off high here. Then whatever that wick off high could give us a little bit of an entry here for the short off the overnight high. You know what? I'll go in full size 2. Stop sell 2 there. It's not really wicking off right now. It's heavier long, 64%. There you go. There's that push up higher that I like to see right above my level. So now if it wants to fail there that actually delta popped with it. So potentially could watch for this to not roll over, but I'll take one chance at it if it does roll through the 60, 59 level here. That's a nice push. That delta here for breakout traders, it's not a bad confluence for you, right? This breakout, nice push up. Nice push. Very nice. See, that's why I wait for that big break. And as I mentioned, we are in all-time high territory, so the lack of information that we have here is going to hurt some of these ideas, right? The strategy might not be perfect in these all-time high levels. I do like the short as well, but I don't like the delta push. If it can break and hold and continue this breakout, this purple zone is going to be a key level, and I will look to short that purple level. My indicator didn't populate, so that means the delta did not diverge on the 5. Let's see if it did on the 1. It closed its long orders and just made a ton of money. Apparently it was long 7, and now it's closed. So my algorithm is making money in the test run, so that's good. But it did just close out the longs, so that means it's potentially looking to either turn around or start to hit a wall based on the way I coded it out. So maybe that's a good thing. We'll see. This would be a break below this level here. This candle would be a failed breakout to me, and that's usually another indication that I like to look for in the shorts at a key level. Right? Russell was curling down. NVIDIA popped. That's our catalyst right there. So here's your NVIDIA using all of my indicator glory. Where's that NVIDIA here? You can see it there. NVIDIA pushing high side. Oh, sorry. I keep doing that. I apologize. It's early week stuff. So NVIDIA broke through that 120.90 level. As I mentioned, that 122 is probably going to be an overhead target. 122.90. That's that wick from pre-market. Maybe that runs into some resistance, but I don't know. Go back. 19,100 would definitely be a great short opportunity, especially pre-FOMC, especially with the grinding slower market that you got right now. I'm going to get rid of this, although that could help us. I'm going to leave it actually. I have that still out there. If it wants to come falling down on me, I'll take that short. But realistically speaking, I think we are holding this. Let's see what we get with the delta as we creep up, right? With delta pushing straight up, the confluence equals confidence, right? Confluence of pushing up higher on the delta does give those longs a better reason to hold. Russell trying to come back into that 2032 level. If it holds that and starts to rotate higher, then I think the NQ will continue as well. S&Ps did wick off that high twice, creating a little bit of a short opportunity at 53.53. You can see this resistance from the pre-market acting as resistance still here, but if it does crack and hold above that 53.54, then you do get that full push to the 53.60, I think. With that being said, that 53.60, same deal as the bottom end on the top end. If S&P gets to 53.60, I would expect the NQ to start their rejection at that point. If this is just going to be that wedging pattern here still, I like that. I like that there. Still haven't made a trade today. As I mentioned, I try to avoid trading away from my levels. That's what gets me in trouble, especially in these slower markets. When you're going to just try and fight this grinding movement, then you're really not going to have a lot of luck. So my goal here is to try and find my edge and then only execute on the edge. We are above this upper band of VWAP. I'm slightly concerned about this entry, but I think I could probably catch a quick little hit on it. Maybe I'll push it down to take one off here if it does push quickly, and then try and trail it. Maybe I'll put it right there, 90.41, 58. That's my idea, and then I see if I can get a full rotation to VWAP. NVIDIA is still pushing up, 122. This upper band of view up is probably going to act as some support here. So let's see if we can get through it. My entry's at 59, right? 58.50. All right, I'll leave it alone. See if it'll go. I don't know for sure. Nobody does. Nobody knows anything for sure at this market. I would like to see it maybe wick this high here again. GameStop breaking back down below 27, 28, just lingering around this level. I'm trying to get my my long-term HODL blend coffee into the Wall Street Bets chat. I just continuously spam them. If you guys want to help us out, share the coffee company wherever you see it, anywhere that traders are involved. Would love to see them try and be bullish. Let's be bullish. Day trading coffee com. Bullish on caffeination. All I need is a couple Redditors to get behind me, and I should be good. If they could squeeze day trading coffee company like they squeezed GameStop and AMC, then we'll be good. We'll be good. That is bullish on caffeination, baby. Bullish on caffeination. I think it's a catchy term. That actually is a ticker, I think. Is it DTCC? No, it's mine. When we go public, you know it's there. Jovi, Max came to say hi. I don't know if you saw him. He came to say hi. What's up? I thought it was, but it's not. That's good. When I clicked it, it didn't. Oh, you missed him, man. He came in. He said hi. He said, "Where's Jovi?" Delta getting heavier. If we can crack this upper band of VWAP, 49, then maybe 21. Let's see. We're going to play it. We're going to play it, and we're going to see what happens at our level. And if it fails, then so be it. NVIDIA giving a nice little pullback. 122, as I mentioned, was that high. There was a wick off high there at 122, and the shorts came in, banged us down to 121.59. I might have to start getting back into equities soon. I'm seeing those equities levels really nicely. Trading them and seeing them are totally different things, though. You gotta be with the equities. You have to be a little more precise. You have to, especially when you're on the prop end, providing liquidity, getting rebates and stuff like that. So, just another thing here. So let's see if we can get some confidence on this. We get a nice breakdown, retest of this. Failed, yeah, delta divergence there. Very nice. All right. Let's see. This could be the breakdown point here. If you're feeling frisky, yeah, I passed it. Yeah, this one is the one I passed here. This funded account. This is the other ones. If you see a gold up top, let's see, it's showing correct. Yeah. So the whites are the evals, the golds are the funded accounts. So if you see the gold, that's funded. Anybody that's showing you a white thing that says something different, then that's a combine or a practice or whatever. Mine's a combine here. There's a eval account. Once again, nothing doing here. Delta trying to push up. Still diverging though, right? You can see the divergence that I mentioned. Higher high in price. Lower high in delta. This is what I look for. If it does crack and pop, then it invalidates it, right? But here you're starting to look, I mean, crack really would mean the high of that candle, right? Price still pushing higher. Delta still lingering down here. Now it's starting to try and catch up, right? It's starting to try and catch up. Not quite making new highs. Still Price still trying to whip off on that high there. Russell came right into that 2023 and gave a little bit of a bounce. S&P's is pushing up a little bit. Is that S&P's? If S&P's gets to 5360, like I mentioned, and we're up in this purple box, then potentially that's where the short comes in. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of this for now because we're too extended away from it. I don't like it. So we are going to get rid of these. I'm going to wait to see what happens up in that area. Does this act as support here? It seems to. I'm going to tuck it into the bodies of the candle here. Gives it a little bit more gusto. Still not making new highs in Delta. Price still making new highs. So therefore, divergence is still in. Now I got to find a level to play. Maybe that's 70. This candle getting canceled out could give you a good indication to get in. Try a cheap stop sell there. I'll give it a shot cheap. One contract. Shoot my shot at it. Once we've exceeded my levels, we're going to have to watch the overnight high, see if that's going to end up becoming a failed breakout or if it's going to end up acting as support here. But if we can front run the breakdown, then potentially we can get this to rotate down and have a little bit better risk to reward on it. So I will take the short through this if it fails to break this candle here, right? Bullish behavior should not cancel out the ignition candle there. So if this still holds, then we should never get triggered. If it just whips us in, whips us out, then so be it. But like I said, I think the delta is acting heavier, still not quite flushing. We do want to get through this upper band of VWAP and rotate back down to the other end of VWAP, or at least into value at 19,035. 19,035 down here into the value area. I'm only going to take one contract short if we do get triggered into this. NVIDIA just crept back up, but I don't think it's going to get much higher than 122 at the moment. Right. So there it is. Short for now, risking above this candle here, and we're going to see if it plays or if it doesn't. I want to see if front running works in this account. If it doesn't, so be it. This is the account to do it on. This is my combine. I am going in cheap with it with one contract. If we do break and hold below the overnight high, then maybe I'll start to work an ad onto it. NVIDIA is starting to get a little heavier. Let's see if the delta will get heavy. Delta still holding. If I get a delta pop, then I'm going to look to eject. Right? If delta starts to push up and break through the highs at 36.90, then potentially this invalidates this. So the heaviness is still there. We're right on top of that upper band at 66. So 66 is that upper band. There is a high volume node there. If we can crack through this, it should rotate right down into 60 because 60 there's a low volume, basically like a valley here. Not a ton of orders executed below through this level, so it should get through and down into 60. Then you got to make a decision there. So there is a lot of volume here at 60. That was that breakout point, obviously overnight high breakout point. They changed the fonts on the top here. I think that's funny. So that's the kind of setup I look for. I'm going to be patient with it, see if it'll dance. I usually like it to happen fast, fast moves. This is kind of my timing thing. This is really what I'm looking for as far as that's concerned. I think if above 75.50 maybe gets us a squeeze into this, you could see that we're starting to not like the way the delta is acting. So let's see. If a delta cracks, we potentially need to get out. This upper band of VWAP is now acting as support here, which is interesting to me. Delta looking like it wants to give you a little bit more. Let's see. Let's see. Like I said, as I mentioned, looking to try this at a little bit extended away from our level. I noticed I've been talking about it. I've been not front running these entries, and I've talked about them a lot to the chat, and people have taken them and profit on them. There's kind of a reason why I don't take these because we are a little bit out in no man's land. NVIDIA just cracked highs, so potentially look to watch to see what happens with NVIDIA here. If NVIDIA starts to squeeze up a little bit, I'm gonna cut this a little short, cut it at the high. But NVIDIA wicked the high. It's just holding here right now. It's not totally ready to go to the high side, so could still be good for us. Delta still not popping, right? It's just kind of sitting here flat. So the longer it sits flat, the better for me. Better for me. Being patient, the appropriate risk allows you to be patient, right? Waiting for some apparent manipulation. Oh, GameStop is melting there. That's interesting. Delta, get heavy, then maybe we'll get through. Like I said here, the high volume node area, this 65, it needs to break this level here for it to actually get that rotation down to 60. So if it does crack the low of this, it should give you, like I said, a bit of a pop down to 60. We should be able to see if it's going to hold or break or not, but we're not going to get that right away. So let's see. If it cracks the low here, we should get down to blue. And if we don't, then that's an indication that the bulls are still there, still kind of holding on to this level. So watch it, watch it, watch it. See if it'll crack this 67 and see if that is a quick snap or if it's going to hold. If it holds this, then this might be that next leg up. There's the crack. Crack right there. See if it cracks and falls or if it just grabs the liquidity and bounces. Should be a faster move. If we get to the blue line, I'll get to even, and then I want to see what happens at the blue line because that's my initial idea, right? Is that short idea through the overnight high. So if that is the short idea, normally that would be my entry if this whole setup were to have happened at the overnight high. It didn't quite give me the flush that I wanted, right? Delta is kind of acting as supportive. I wanted 65 to give up. Still hasn't got there, so I guess I'm not quite exactly ready. So I want 65 to give up. This level here needs to give up. I thought it was up a little higher. It's not. This is still the whole volume node. So below 65, I need it to be below that. NVIDIA is like kind of like giving you an inside part right now. It's not quite selling off yet. S&P is also just kind of lingering here. If we can get the S&Ps to give up, maybe that'll help us to the downside some. I'm lingering here, in green, out of green, in green, out of green. 62 is your EMA on the 5. I have no moving averages except for the VWAP. Don't usually use them much, but I could see how it acts as support. Yeah, it definitely makes sense. When I was trading equities, we used the 8 and the 21 as like a momentum indicator. And it definitely worked as far as trailing stops and stuff like that. And if they ended up breaching, it definitely made a lot of sense. I want that 65 level to crack. I think if that's the level that gives up, if it can give it up, then we can at least rotate to the blue line, secure ourselves a nice little move. Just because I feel like it's not a trend day. I feel like it's more of a rotational day. But that's just feeling. Also, the previous day high is so far away that technically it's still an inside day, which could create a rotation from previous day low to previous day high, which could still be a lot of room to the upside. NVIDIA is cracking. NVIDIA broke down 121.80. Now it's down to 121.74. Come on, give us this crack. See, this is what I don't like to do. I don't like to linger. I like price to go my way quickly. Usually this kind of failure of a major candle here is a good indication that the breakout has failed, and now we're going to rotate the other direction. But that's just, the law of averages of is it going to work or not. I really don't want to risk over this. So basically just cut my risk in half based on the way these candles are acting. They're being too slow for me. So if it does just want to pop and explode out, I don't want to take a full loss on it. I'll take a small loser. I really almost even want to be out above 75. That's just kind of my thought process on it right now, just within the speed of the candle. But I don't want to be manipulated out. So 75 could still manipulate us out and then rotate down. So technically I want to still be up there. Delta is running into a wall right here at 65. So that 65 level acting as some key buyers. And then you can see now it's a little bit more of an aggressive buyer stepping in. But still not quite. Like I said, that 75 could be a manipulation, so let's watch it. If it fails 75 this time, there was that manipulation. That's the reason why I didn't put my stop there yet. So I want to see what happens with this candle close. Closes there. If we start to breach that 75 this time, then that's the squeeze kind of coming in on this wedge. Dancing around. Mm-hmm. 10:21 a.m. here. I waited all the way till 10-ish to enter a trade here. I entered at 10:11. Took me a few hours to get in on a trade. Hour and a half, 8:30, 9:30, 10. S&P's looking to crack this high. If S&P breaks this, then the 75 level probably breaches. So then we probably don't want to be in over that. I'll risk $100 to make whatever. I'm just trailing this based on the speed of the entry not working out, right? I want things to move pretty quickly. If it goes now or if it whips me out and then and it moves in my direction, I don't really care because I'm looking to just cut my loser short. And if it does want to squeeze this wedge, then it's probably going to squeeze all the way up and out. So I don't want to be involved in that. So if S&Ps can give me a little bit of a selling here, then I'll be happy. If we get down to 65 again and can't breach it, then we'll probably look to cut this trade. 50-50 on the tilt. I don't like this trade anymore, really. You can see the delta really wanting to curl up from that level. So I'm going to be out now. We're flat. We're flat. We're down 112. I cut that short because I really felt like if it was going to fail, it should have failed pretty quickly. Usually that's going to be the entry here, the front run for people who like to front run it. And then we ran into this big volume area here at 65. Without the break of 65, you can see right here, the high volume, that's really what we wanted to see crack. It never cracked. It held. Delta, you can see kind of continuously looking every time we got to 65. We got to 65 here, you got a good big buyer. You got to 65 here, you had another big buyer. So the reason I got out of that and didn't want to risk the whole thing is I'm pretty sure it's going to squeeze, which it did. It squeezed right to the high there, and then that would have been a full loss. So for me, that's a win. Cutting a loser short, right? It's not a win, right? It's not a winning trade, but proper risk management according to the strategy and according to my understanding of the way the market's working currently is definitely what I want to see happen, right? So I'm glad that I'm able to decide to cut bait and run. If I see price approach this 65 level again, I'll be interested at that level because I know now that that is going to be a very important level right there. Also, like I mentioned, I keep thinking that I have the wrong thing on. I think this purple zone is more likely if we can get 5360 to get tagged. That would help. Nvidia just continuing to be strong. Microsoft's in a interesting setup currently. It's very sideways, holding below 427, trying to catch a bid, but just kind of lingering between that 427, 426 area. Apple found support at 195. And like I said, Nvidia got up to that 122 and it just keeps rotating from 122 to 121.50. Not too worried about that. Not looking to hammer in and hammer in, hammer in. That's why I said early in the day, if you take your trades, don't look to be, going in and just, could be still safe in this trade that I took from the short side, but realistically, still Delta very flat, price is flat, price is trying to make new highs, Delta still not making new highs. So you are still getting that, right? Lower high, but you're making higher highs, still making higher highs on these, right? Still making higher highs. Still not making higher highs in Delta. Into the purple zone makes us interested. Up to 19,100 should give you some definite interest in this. Everything looking bullish except for GameStop, looking to continue to sell off down into 25. Nice little push up. Let me get into that 19,100 area. As I mentioned, this liquidity zone here could look to act as that resistance. I want to see what happens if S&Ps can get to that 53.60.50 level. That might be the timing for the short. Nvidia looking like its uptrend is just going to continue to stair step straight up. Okay, NVIDIA still kind of lingering around that 122.30 level, 122.29. I want to see this kind of creep up a little bit more. 10:30, we're just about to hit off on 10:30. Stream goes till about 11 every single day when I'm here. I did mention to everybody who was in here earlier, the streams this week and next week are going to be a little bit wonky. I do have training today is Monday, so Tuesday I'll be on. Wednesday and Thursday I will not be on. I have training those 2 days, and then back on Friday for some fun trades. Up until Wednesday, probably going to get this kind of grindy, slow price action type days because you have the CPI and rain and the FOMC rate decision and the press conference. So you got a big news day on Wednesday, lack of big news today and tomorrow. You get some Red Book and some bill auctions tomorrow, but nothing crazy. The note auction and then the oil stock change is good for oil traders. Slow grinds are painful. This is something, like I said, you got to just understand that this is what kind of action you're going to get, right? As Leezy read the write-up that I wrote, it was basically telling you that early in the week up until Wednesday, this is the type of price action you're going to get. You just got to be careful with it, be mindful of it, right? Don't go crazy hammering in, hammering out of trades. Want to see what happens with S&Ps here at 53.60.50, right? That's that high. Could rotate into 53.65. Okay. If we fail this, I'll take one more shot at it here. This is not like part of the exact strategy. This is a combine trade, but I am interested in it. If the S&Ps can get up there, hold there, and then fail it, 10:30, this is the close of the European session. So potentially you could either squeeze or look to fail it because that's the end of the day for them over there. NVIDIA is still cracking highs, not giving it up, looking to kind of push up even higher. Delta now finally making new highs, acting congruent with price. So you have the price pushing on up. That 108 level was huge for sells last week. See if 108 gets hit again. If 108 gets hit, that'd be nice, actually. I'm going to wait on that, maybe. Get rid of that. I don't like it right now. 108. Alrighty. There's that new high again. Right along that trend line. Pretty much exact. The 100 level got tagged. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to use the bathroom, and I'll be right back real quick. Back. This is why we're happy to be able to be dynamic with our ideas, right? Everything about this kind of started to say we're going to get heavy, we're going to get heavy, we're going to heavy, but we did have that volume node here that acted as support, right? We don't have those nodes here as much. We don't have a ton of information here. There hasn't been a lot of executions up in this area ever. So this is where all-time high trading is difficult a bit for my style, my strategy. We are going to look to see if price will reject this upper end here. Maybe get up into that 108 where it was rejected last week as well. However, we look like we want to kind of creep down from 100. But good on us. Hopefully you did the same thing. Started to recognize that every time we came into 65, the delta popped. The delta popped here. The delta popped here. I said, you know what? I'm going to cut at 75. The first time I didn't want to cut at 75 because, like I said, I think it could be a manipulative, right? and it did. It came right up above 75, and then it failed down. I said, okay, maybe that's going to be our failure. If it does not fail here, we're going to cut at 75 the next break of it, because I think that is the actual continuation breakout point, right? I think that we wick it. If it's going to fail, it's going to go. If not, then it's going to continue on. So right there, we didn't cut. We let it go. We moved our stop right above here. Got stopped out because, except, like I said, if I get above here, I'm going to be wrong. And how wrong would I have been? Look at that, right? So learn to use what you're seeing dynamically to get you in or out. Like, right, I limited my risk a bit more by understanding the dynamics of what is going on with the volume, the volume profile, the VWAP upper band, right? We are currently extended away from even the upper band of VWAP. So a pullback isn't out of the realm of possibility, at least into this. If you get maybe one more manipulation or so, just be mindful of it. S&P's delta is straight up, price is straight up. Russell's trying to break the highs again. Could go. See when this trend line actually breaks. If this trend line breaks and holds, then maybe wait for a break retest. This is a break hold of an overnight high in the S&Ps. Like I said, I'm cool with taking that kind of loss. One quick small loser. I don't know what. Okay, they actually changed the font back. So the font was weird. Maybe I was just getting some weird data. There's a crack of that overnight high there. So if that does give it up, then maybe we can get this thing to roll. $10.35. We got about 25 minutes left in the stream. If anybody's looking at trades or wants analysis, let me know. If you want an update on GameStop, it's currently sitting at $24.57. So technically, I believe that puts Gil out of the money. I think his premium was $5 or something like that, or I don't know what it was. Nvidia still creeping upside at that 122. What kind of overhead we have? 30-minute. $123.66. See if we get a crack of this. S&P needs to hold below 53.60.50, which could lead us to rotate down further. Heavy delta, that's nice. I think pullback to this upper band of VWAP, like I said, is reasonable. I'll sell one there, and I'll risk above 108.
Order filled.
100, I guess. I'll risk the top end of the purple box. Shoot one more shot at it. Let's see what happens. From the purple zone, I do think that 108 is a more strong short location. So if I start to see this thing creep back up over here, I'm going to cut it again. If S&P holds above 53.60.50, then I will cut as well. But I think that we can continue downside if S&P holds that yellow line there. Nvidia just broke down under 122.30. Maybe it'll give us a little flush. There's a little bit of heaviness in Nvidia. Trying to time our short up here a little bit better. With this delta push, really seemed like there's an aggressive seller in that 100 range. Like I said, again, right at that VWAP, kind of acting as support. upper band. I would like to get through it. Very strong hold of that trend line. If S&Ps can hold this yellow line, then we're going to be okay. If it doesn't, if it gets back above it, then I'm potentially going to look to cut and run. But we're still looking at it's okay here, 53.60, 50, but it looks like it wants to pop it. Nvidia wicked that 122.30 and right back up, so we're going to probably end up getting stopped out on this one. 2 shots at a short that quite possibly just not ready. It's probably one more push up. Like I said, up to 108. Should I risk that whole 500? 108 is the this line here, this red line here. We did short that a few times on Friday. We shorted it there. We did actually short that 97 light right where we're at on Friday as well. So this kind of key area. It's another reason why we're still here, still in it. 97 was an interesting level. Delta still lingering lower, so not potentially looking to break out quite yet. Russell looking to curl down. Just talking through what I see. Potentially looking at a grindy day that just never stops to the upside. Delta now looking like it wants to get aggressive, but price now wants to turn. The 100 level breaks, then 108 go. We'll short a second at 108. You can see ES looking to hold this 53.60, which I might short on the S&Ps. Can that work? If that breaks down, I haven't been trading the S&Ps much, but let's see if that works. I've been noticing that their levels have been reactive, so if it does help us. Not a fan of this price action currently. Somebody ding dong on the doorbell. Somebody's at the door. NQ broke 100, but didn't give it with any sort of force, right? I mean, Delta straight up. There wasn't a lot of force in that. Right? There was not a lot of force in that breakout there. Can we break 100 and fail? And then does this S&P break 53.60? I'm going to get in with a 53.60 break on the S&Ps. See if that, I don't know what the, this doesn't move as fast. The S&Ps doesn't move as fast, but I'll take a shot at it if it does give up this yellow box. Kind of linger us around a little bit. It moves a lot slower, so we can hammer out of it and be pretty safe. If we do crack above this, it's probably not going to go. I like the lack of follow through on that break of 100. There is a steady set of buyers in the S&Ps, though. Yeah, grinding action sucks. Nvidia is still looking to crack that 122 level. Just using it as support right now. I wanted to give up. It just pushed down pretty heavy again. need that 122 to give up. 122.20 down into 122. Nvidia still holding that. Delta made a new high with price, kind of acting exactly the same, not really diverging, but also at the same time not giving you a big follow through, which does help my thoughts on this. The S&P is still stepping upside. Just broke the high. If I get another decent bounce in Nvidia, I'm just gonna cut this one. Probably just be done for the day. I don't really have much. Like I said, it's really not a day for big moves, aggressive price action, stuff that really lends itself to my trades working the way I want them to. So that's a reason why. One of the reasons why I'm not trading the XFAs yet. Another reason is I'm trying to build up as much capital as possible until that time comes. When I am ready to pounce on the actual market conditions that I really enjoy to trade, right? This is still good. I mean, you can still capitalize on this if you have the right strategy for it. It's just a matter of patience, timing, and waiting and letting things play out the way you think that they're going to play out, right? So if we can get this thing to roll some here, Nvidia is trying to break down through the lows of that 122.20, which it just cracked. If it can get through 122 even, maybe it helps us down to this overnight high. I am going to enter in on a short through the overnight high here on the S&Ps if it gives it up, and then I'll risk to the high of that candle on the S&Ps. So I'll have two positions on if it does give up. Get heavy? Why not? Oh, Nvidia just broke that level pretty nicely. There should be some follow through, and if not, then I don't know who's attached to what, not leading us, right? I am watching the Nvidia as a leader, and it's still acting as the leader. Microsoft giving us a little bit of a rising wedge pattern up above the highs, so it's starting to go too. So maybe this is the good timing. Let's see what happens. We need to see if we do get into the money on this trade. Now we're short on the S&Ps as well. If we get through the 65, that should be very good for us. Technically, we can only make $1,500. I have to set my daily profit target to $1,550. I'll make it, and then we'll have to liquidate and block and save. So that's if we do hit that target. If not, no big deal. Both of these. This is how I'm leveraging into this position on a slower mover, but also a level that, they react to levels pretty well. Nvidia wicked that level. I wanted to get down through the lows some more. Starting to catch a bit of a bid. I don't like that. Let's see if the S&Ps will go. Let's see what happens. S&P, the upper band of VWAP, sitting right on top of it, trying to give it up at this high volume node. Want to push it down to 80s. If 80s can break, then maybe we get that rotation. 80s is what I want to see. I'm only risking to the high of this on the S&Ps, and I'm risking to the high of this on there. So let's see what happens. Let these things play a bit. Like I said, I still think the 108 level is probably the key level for the NQ. We don't have to get there though. Nvidia fucking grabbing another bid. No, absolutely. I agree with you. I think that's just a good. This is just a good area to take a cheap shot at a short, and if it gives up, then you have a good risk to reward. You have to take a shot at something if you're going to trade on the day. Realistically, it seems like it wants to hold. Nvidia it melted down and then just caught a bid immediately, and nothing followed through on the downside. So that's just the only concerning part for me, is that it is still heavily weighted to the Nvidia price action. If this S&P doesn't want to give up, then the NQ is not going to give up. However, I think we're still okay. We're still safe until up above this wick. So I'm going to leave it alone. If it stops me out, it stops me out. Like I said, that's why we're trading combines. There's a few reasons, right? The price action, one, and the ability to leverage up and get more funding. I'm going to take shots at stuff at key levels as I see fit. And I think if we can get rid of this area here, if we can get through here, then we might get an actual good snap on the S&Ps. I still like 108s. I do like 108s. Should just risk over 108 on this, but that gives my stop too much on the risk. Got in a bottom tick on that. I mean, really, if this squeezes, 108 does probably pop, and then 108 probably ends this. So grab some liquidity. That was a really strong delta push. Aggressive buyer came in there. So we're going to grab this, come back down. S&P is probably going to wick us out on this. Where's the S&Ps is out. So that delta squeezing. So that looks like another leg up on the S&P, which probably leads to another leg up in the NQ. But I do, like I said, that 108 level as the major level of resistance. But with the way NQ works, the whip above 108 probably gets you to 109 and 110. And then that's where you get the failure. So technically you should be running myself out of this. But we're going to just leave the stop there. It is what it is. It is what it is. Didn't make a new high in Delta, though. That's interesting. Still safe, but this 100 level is going to be reactive for sure. Nvidia gave back up. 122.26. So trying to play those levels. Ideally, you enter at 100, risk to 108. Then as you approach the bottoms, I mean, if you're in multiple contracts, you kind of play in this range here. Bop, 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 bop. But we're only trading single contracts. We're only trading, small little leverage right now. Nothing crazy. And like I said, that's why I'm in this combine, working these levels, working these zones. I haven't traded S&P in a long time, so I threw one on there. And obviously, it's like, hey, you haven't traded me in a while. I'm going to stop you out. So it is what it is on that. Where's the S&P levels? Let me get onto like a 30-minute on this. I don't like these all-time high levels. That's just not my game. Like I said, I have a very tough time with these liquidity areas when there's not a lot of information to be had. It's purely just technical analysis. These are the S&Ps. Looking like now it wants to break that. Should probably squeeze to there. So this is probably going to be an out. Yeah, all-time high levels do not suit my trading style. I don't think it suits a lot of people. Some people have really good all-time high strategies. This guy does not, and I'm going to be honest with you about that. So just be mindful that I am just a guy trying to make it work at certain levels. I'm really not over leveraging or anything like that in this combine. Like I said, I was trying to be patient with it. We tried to wait all day to get a good short in. Didn't quite. The first one we cut, beautiful trade execution, trade management. This one I'm not as happy with because as soon as I started to see this delta pop off this level here, then I probably should have been out. I expect a whippy action of 108 and then a failure of 108, but 109 will get tagged and will get stopped out just because of the way price seems to act on the NQ. We came right to 108, you can see, and you're failing it. So maybe we won't get stopped, but I think that we still do. I think we still push above it. We hold, and then I bet we rotate down from it. S&Ps is still straight up. A super slow delta, not a bunch of pops, but it seems like every time we slow down, the pop goes. Russell's leading us up. NQ's trying to fight that 108, but I think we get stopped out, and then it rotates down. But I'm not going to just hammer into it right away. Combine, like I said, I get a little bit risky with the price. I would never risk 500 on a XFA until I started to push into a higher buffer, right? This is not how I would manage my risk on that. Would have cut it at that 100 level, like I said we should. 5 minutes remaining in the stream. Down 740. Probably shouldn't be down that much. Honestly, we just kind of were playing with this level up here. And we entered it into an S&P short as well, which was, reasonable. I didn't really have too much things telling me that it was going to continue on to the upside. But now that we've accepted above this overnight high in both the NQ and the S&Ps, it seems like the bulls are just in control right now. This is another reason why I'm not trading my XFAs. I'm not seeing the entries the follow through on the entries that I normally would get. So, we're trying to leverage it, get back into a couple XFAs, get funded on a few of them. Going over what I expected for the week, kind of this slow, grindy action up until Wednesday. Apparently the grindy action leads to just straight upside moves in the NQ. Right? We grabbed all this down here at the previous day low, and then we started to get bid up and 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 just never failed the overnight high. Really, technically should have never been entered in any of these trades based on my levels. With the XFAs, I would definitely not be entering these. These are not A+ setups. They're away from my levels. They're away from zones. This one maybe would have gotten executed at 19,100, but then stopped out anyway. So realistically, just kind of lingering around and executing just to execute in certain areas. So that's not good. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's for sure. Does look like a nice 108 failed. As I mentioned, it probably goes up to 110, fails 108. Since we're on here, we have a few $100 left. See if we get another whip of the 108 level. If not, we can start to see the turnaround from here. I'll sell one here. I'm not going to even wait. Going to sell one. I don't normally enter within 5 minutes of the hourly close. I don't normally enter right as stream is ending. So take this with a grain of salt. I am just entering to enter to see if this 108 failure is just going to be a straight rejection, because I've been missing some entries like that. It's more of a test than it is a valid call out for anything like that. NVIDIA just caught a little bit of a bounce from 122.30. So if it does bounce at all anymore, I'm going to look to just cut this one and go. But like I said, I'm just trying to see if that 108 failure is going to be something that I'd be interested in moving forward. Because I'm going to get off here at 11, be done for the day. Just want to see if that'll give us any sort of opportunity here. We are in the money here. That's a nice short. So we caught that little breakdown. Still want to limit our risk over that 109 level again. So the actual short from 109, 108 is what I was trying to wait for before. Didn't wait for it, kind of front ran it, and then got into it. So I'm going to be a break even on this. Good little front run entry here, I guess you'd call it. See if it'll fail this at bottom end of here. I don't trust that it will quite yet. That 87 needs to give up. If we get stopped at a break even, it's cool. No big deal. No harm, no foul on it. Really just trying to work this level and see what happens with it. I will go candle to candle on that. So if it gets back above there, we'll be out. But at least we got ourselves another trade on this combine. See if we can flush it all the way to lows. If 85 gives up, or 65, I should say, if 65 gives up, then potentially you could look for that full rotation down to that VWAP. So that's what I'm looking at with this. S&P is bouncing off of 5360, so that is going to be your indication to probably not see this follow through. One more minute left in the stream. I am, like I said, going to just kind of manage this one and then be done for the day. See what happens with it. I think a bounce comes in here at 90. But if it doesn't, that'd be a nice little flush here. Like the timing is a lot better there. Delta did come in nice and heavy. So that was a nice little indication that you will get that rotation down. Rotate down to 80 would be a really interesting spot to start to be seeing what's going to happen here below 80. Would be a good indication of whatever is going on. 11 o'clock here. That could have just been a manipulation, stop people out, liquidity sweep, run us to highs again. We've secured $100 on it. So really, this is the only trade I should have been taking. So that's it. I'll stay on until I manage this out, and then we will see you tomorrow. Like I said, I'm doing a double today. I'm going to get home probably around 7 a.m., try and catch an hour of sleep, and then come back on the stream. And give you guys as much information as I possibly can leading into the next few days. A few days after that, I'm not going to be trading. Where's my other? There it is. There's the crack of the 84. See if 80 will go. Still going to be up over that 96 level. If I had more than one contract on, if I had two on, I would have took one off here at 87 and then just trailed this other second contract out. So that's the thought process behind that with the bounces on the S&Ps. Just letting this thing do its thing down here. Decent size got filled at 93, so possibly a pop coming in. Could risk to just above that VWAP, but that's at 100. That's really, I mean, it could leave it at break even. Just trying to manage this trade a little bit. Does it go and roll over after this, right? If it stops us out and rolls us over, maybe. But I'm going to take that 100. I'm going to take the $100. Call it a day. Stream is up. We're going to go ahead and call it. That's the only one I probably would have liked to have taken for real. Like that 108 failure. As I mentioned, I called that 108 level as being the interesting spot to be looking to short, right? The other levels here, I kind of just front ran them on the break of the trend line. It is what it is. It happens. Overall, like I said, smart day as far as the cutting of this one. Noticing that there's a lot of support here. And then these ones were just kind of poorly managed. Not really. I mean, price just didn't follow through. So we were looking at the levels, taking a shot at it. Sometimes the shots fail. I think maybe we do get a rotation now that we stopped out. But I'm going to end the stream here. I hope everybody has a good rest of your day. Remember, try not to fight this slow grinding action. If you don't have something, don't take it. We're going to be on tomorrow, like I said, then not here Wednesday or Thursday, back on Friday. Hopefully we can grab ourselves one more funded account, at least by the end of the week. If not, we're just going to shoot our shot next week. We are only going to be on a couple days next week as well with my busy schedule for June. And then the following week after that, we'll be back and ready to go. So until tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Time, I will see you all then. Peace out.